us is on the topic how, how future technologies can accelerate sustainable urban growth. Excuse me. As Lagos continues to evolve into a modern tech-driven mega city, emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, data analytics, IoT, and renewable energy systems are reshaping how cities function. From transportation and housing to energy and governance, this conversation provides a platform for thought leaders, innovators, and policy makers to share insights on how we can harness these technologies, not only to make Lagos smarter and more efficient, but also more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. So it is an opportunity to explore what the future of urban growth should look like. One, powered by innovation, driven by collaboration, and designed for people. Therefore, today's session is designed to be highly interactive. So we will start with a brief introduction of our speakers for today. But before we go to that, we encourage you to use the Zoom Q&A feature and chat to share questions, insights, and interactive takeaways. Please keep microphones muted when not speaking to minimize background noise. So joining us today are a group of remarkable thought leaders and experts who will help us unpack how future technologies can shape a more sustainable Lagos. So our first speaker here is Rotimi Thomas, the CEO of Sunfy. As CEO of Sunfy, Rotimi stands at the forefront of Nigeria's clean energy revolution, using technology to drive access to affordable and sustainable power. Through his leadership, Sunfy has created a digital marketplace that connects clean energy providers, financiers, and consumers, simplifying access to solar solutions and advancing Nigeria's transition to low-carbon economy. His work demonstrates how innovation of finance data energy system can unlock economic growth while addressing urban sustainability challenges. All right, and David Mogaji, founder and CEO, Kandu Web AI. He is the founder of Kandu Web AI, a technology company leveraging artificial intelligence and blockchain to drive financial growth and digital empowerment across Africa. With a background in software engineering, David is a forward-thinking innovator whose work explores how emerging technologies can enhance transparency, inclusion, and efficiency in Africa's digital economy. And I have also here Duke, Gift Duke, who is the CEO, MD, Override Technologies Limited. Override Technologies Limited, a software development and technology company with a mission to leverage emerging technologies for Africa growth. Beyond his leadership, Gift is a passionate and tech innovator, writer, and advocate for digital transformation, who explores how AI, blockchain, and Internet of Things, that is IoT, can harness to address Africa's unique socio-economic and infrastructural challenges. Lastly, I have Chioma Ukpabi, who is the CEO of SOC Technology, and she's also the founder of the company, an edtech startup that provides young people access to learn trades, skills with ease. All right, a communication arts graduate from Bowen University and Teddia Mini MBA holder, she has trained thousands and earned multiple awards for social impact and youth empowerment. So to begin with you, Rotimi, you will share your perspective on how future technologies can serve as a catalyst for sustainable urban growth. Over to you, Rotimi.
All right. Thank you very much, Principal. How many minutes do I have? Because if you're not careful, I will just keep going on, and then.
Okay, you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. Awesome. Good. Well, I'm really excited to be here today with all of you, and to my co-panelists and to our moderator. Thank you very much, and to Lagos State Government and of course, the AOT conference. We've been part of it for a few years. Very excited to see all that is going on. But yeah, I think because in some ways it feels like we're quite behind sometimes when you're living in Lagos, you can feel sometimes that there's a juxtaposition between behind and actually being in some regards kind of advanced, right? So some of the digital technologies that we use as Lagosians, you actually feel like when you go to other countries, like, why don't they have this? Why don't they have this? But when that pothole catches you on the road, then you now remember where you are, so on and so forth. And I think there's that whiplash that we experience every single day. How can we bring all these things together? For me, the platform and in the invisible design technology on which every single thing, every other ambition is run in any country that is enabling its young people, its older people, everyone to advance and innovate and participate in this human project is power, is electricity. Even before we get to clean electricity or whatever the case may be, Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison, all of them solved that problem over 100 years ago, and the rest of the world took off. What we are doing right now is we're still living in the dark ages at a time when people are now bringing a new species to bear, artificial intelligence, right? And that species, according to Elon Musk, will soon have the dexterity of human beings. And once you have that manual dexterity, there's almost nothing that cannot be done, at least from an efficiency perspective. Doesn't mean that humans are not going to still participate and be the ones leading, obviously, from a thought leadership perspective. So I think we have a long way to go and we need to catch up very fast. So for me, that means we need to maximize and make energy accessible to every productive member of Lagos as fast as possible. Because when Lagosians go out of this city and Nigerians go out of this country into the world, we are performing at the top of almost every single pack that you can find in the world, whether it's launching spaceships into the universe, building artificial intelligence, so on and so forth. So if the world is arbitraging our human capacity, why are we, right, the source of that great intelligence, that great energy level? I think Nigerians are the most energetic people in the world, but we have the least energy per capita in the world. It doesn't make sense, right? So I think what we can do is working with the Lagos state government, how can we take industrial parks and infrastructure, buildings, things that are dilapidated, how can we reimagine them as centers where artificial intelligence, GPU centers, so on and so forth, or data centers are being utilized for local technologies that are being developed by young people in this country that are being leveraged by our own banks, so on and so forth. How do we work to create financing products that are really cost effective, like what was just done in the mortgage markets? How do we do that in the financing market so that people don't complain about the cost of financing a solar system, which they cannot afford to pay for cash? And how do we make everyone get off their generators? For example, you can, the same way you put a license plate on a car, you should have, or emissions regulation on a car, you should have emissions regulations on diesel generators. People should pay fines for putting out black carbon into the market. And then everyone will sit up and make that transition. So I think it's making it accessible, realizing that we are behind and that we have some of the best human capital in the world that is waiting to unleash products to this world if we power them, not just using energy or electricity, but using affordable, clean electricity that can enable the sustainability of the city. So that's my thoughts on it. Happy to share more.
Okay, thank you. While having some technical issues there, can you hear me? Okay, thank you very much. So sorry for the technical issue. So same question to you, David. So David, will you share your perspective on how future technologies can serve as a catalyst for sustainable urban growth within a few minutes?
All right, thank you so much. Happy to be here, by the way. I think I'm just going to start off by saying that when I got the invite to speak at this event, to be honest, I had to go back and do research on Lagos to understand the challenges that are there because as someone who has never been in Lagos or stayed in Lagos for more than a week or two, I don't really have much perspective about the problems there, right? So I had to do some digging. And while I was researching Lagos and the challenges in the States, I stumbled upon a paper that was written by Dr. Awolu Faisal Koko, and an MSc student named Mohammed Bello. And the things that their paper review was quite intriguing and interesting, right? They talked about issues. Sorry, they talked about issues like housing shortages. They talked about traffic congestions and the rest of them. And this gave me a better perspective of the challenges that people that stay in Lagos are facing on a day-to-day basis. And I had to relate that to how AI could help. Now, Lagos currently has an estimation of between 17 to 20 million people that live in the state, right? And this is a huge constraint on when it comes to housing, because as the more people move to Lagos, the more people are looking at acquiring properties. Now, technologies like blockchain, for example, can help with things like allocation of landed properties and then transactions, which can help with things like transparency, reliability, right? Because of course you can't stop the bad actors from trying to resell properties that have already been sold to people before. And then one of my favorites is how AI can actually help with traffic congestion, which is something I have personally experienced in Lagos, which is why I don't go to Lagos that much. But that's by the way though, right? So with technologies like AI could actually help optimize traffic congestion in Lagos. Let's say a typical example could be having an AI system, right, connected to the traffic lights in Lagos, right? Let's say maybe having sensors and then some cameras that can be able to analyze traffic data on real time, make prediction on congestion patterns, by being able to identify what routes are most congested at what time, right? And then being able to fix that issue, fix the congestion by allowing people in the busiest routes to move a lot more faster, even before the congestion start building up, right? So that's for traffic congestion. Another one is waste management. For anyone who has been to Lagos before, the atmosphere is different. If you come down to Abuja and you live in Abuja, you go to Lagos, if you breathe the air in Lagos, you know that something changed. No one has to tell you that something changed, right? And this is due to the lack of a better waste management system. So technologies like IoT and even AI can actually help manage waste in real time, analyze these things, sort them out, determine best routes, and even help even with recycling, right? And the truth is that these technologies are very, very fascinating, and they can actually solve real problems in not just Lagos, but across Nigeria, but they have to be backed by the right strategy. And then there's a part of educating the people, because any technology is fundamentally useless without the people using it. So this is my take, and I believe that if we should follow this approach, we can fix a lot of the problems, not just in Lagos, but other developing states in the country.
Okay, thank you, David. Thank you, David. Now to you, Duke. As a software development and technology person, so please, can you give your overview or your site or how future technologies can accelerate sustainable urban growth?
Based on what the modern what you some of the final energy.
Sorry, please, can you be audible?
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Hello? Yeah, okay. I'm speaking from experience, because I was born actually from people Italian. But the thing is, the people need to actually understand the importance of AI, because a lot of people are seeing artificial intelligence in trend. They are seeing it as trend. But the truth is that when we see power, that's how we look at AI. AI is not trend. AI is something that matters. So I will be speaking from the project we have done so far. terms of circular economy uh, project therefore. So one of the things I like that I'm a practical person. So I'm a practical person. A lot of people are talking about it, talking about it. But the thing is, there's a knowledge gap. Yeah, we could explain the problem. Also, yeah, we could explain the problem. But the thing is, what do we do? So this now for the so from my own perspective, just as the Morgan said regarding having high. Now, looking at the developer, we have been working on a project and we have some prototypes like done already. With support of entities like data mining, we are looking at taking these prototypes to the form. So one of the prototypes is actually for tracking money. We discovered that since a camera, I think most of us that live in Lagos, we know that there are some places that actually have this camera where you take stuff. And if you check some cases that you spend over hours on the road sort of stuff, it's not because yes, the road may be bad, but it's not really because that. Things like people or teenagers disobeying you stuff. So what we did was create an IoT system that centered around blockchain technology because we can manipulate data, especially when we have power, can manipulate data. But what we actually designed is that data that are stored in blockchain are not data. So we built a system with the help of IoT technology that is kind of monitors people real time, even down to you are an Okada rider, you're not outside, them defining for that. So one of the reasons we decided to work on that side, we discovered that there's a lot of money that governments would have capped in technology. So one of it is if you obey the traffic law, because this staff of good guide stuff. When you do stuff, it can cost something like maybe part someone's car. Then the process will now to part someone's car. Somebody you cost the chaos. From that chaos you start costing traffic. So these are the minor things. So outside for tools, this is something we actually government is by opening for little startups to partner with us because a lot of little startups have powerful websites. Now,
okay, thank you. Apologies for trying to cut you short. Apologies, we don't have all the time. Okay, so thank you for your insight. I'm gonna come over to you, Chioma. So Chioma, can you share your perspective on how future technologies can serve as a catalyst for sustainable urban growth? Just within 2 to 3 minutes, please. Yes, Chioma. Hello, Chioma, are you there? All right. For those of you that are just joining us, welcome. Our focus for today is on the topic how future technologies can accelerate sustainable urban growth. So it's an opportunity for us to explore what future of urban growth should look like. One, powered by innovation, driven by collaboration and designed for the people. So while waiting for Chioma, I'll start with you, Rotimi. Here is the first question for you. Rotimi, if you can hear me. So Lagos's urban growth continues to outpace its energy infrastructure. How can future technologies help bridge this gap and support sustainable urban expansion?
Well, before we talk about technology, I think it starts with city planning.
Okay.
Right? So if you go to Dubai, so on and so forth, there are very powerful offices in almost every advanced city in the world. They work with some of the best futurists in the world to think through the constraints and the opportunities of their cities, their locational advantages and everything before they go about executing a city plan. So those cities are not accidental. Lagos should be the greatest city in the world. I just want to voice it again. I don't think that there is any city that has people more energetic than the minute you step in our airport, you feel the energy level of Lagosians. Now, how do we translate that into a locational advantage? We just heard Duke talking about some IoT-based solutions. I know in Lagos now, I think, Bosu and the team have been doing some really cool things in Lagos recently. Unfortunately, it might catch you if you disobey the law. So if you're driving, you might now get a ticket, right? Just show up when you now go to go and renew your license or whatever the case may be. That wasn't something that was going on a few years ago. And that's just literally integrating very simple integrations between IoT-based technologies that are data-driven and are able to engage without human intervention. I mean, even last month, people now, they can tag even a citizen today can snap your license plate for parking in the wrong place and you can get a bill. I know someone that actually has built something of that nature and integrated it with Lagos State. So I think before we start doing all these very cool things, however, like what's the plan? How are we thinking about rezoning commercial? Like if you come to Lekki phase 1 today, the whole place is a mess. Anywhere, anyhow, anyone will just erect a commercial property beside someone's residential property. If I want to start charging electric vehicles, for example, it's a really great idea, but now I've gone and put it beside someone's commercial property or residential property. I might start constituting a nuisance to that person next door. I'm doing something that's great for the city, but at the same time, I'm impacting someone in the city as well. So we need support to think through the advanced technologies that are here now, not in the future. Artificial intelligence, electric mobility. The delivery economy is one of the main economies that is supporting people in the economy in Lagos State today. And it is one of the best cities in the world for delivery businesses in the world. What kind of dialogue are we having with these young men and women to say, hey, look, you are supporting thousands of jobs in the city, if not millions of jobs in the city. How can we make your life easier? Okay, we have abandoned land here, we have abandoned land here. How can we repurpose these things, give you guys low-cost financing, so on and so forth, so that you can bring more people into this economy, but you have to follow our rules. I mean, if you go to London, you can't just leave your electric bike wherever and then go off and constitute a nuisance. There are now demarcated places within those cities where you can conduct these activities. They're integrated into mapping technology and so on and so forth. Power, we know that doing the big grid is not going to work. All of us are old enough now to know that. So decentralized power is the way Nigeria's grid is going to grow up. Can we have more support for decentralized big power stations that are embedded within communities to power the localities in collaboration with distribution companies versus this being a contentious issue, right? So I think we're going in the right path. I'll stop by saying I think we're going in the right path. Decentralization is Nigeria's future. Nigeria's power industry now is a decentralized power market, right? So Lagos is starting to take care and charge of its own future. Mobility is all decentralized. Only a fraction of people use the centralized bus systems, right? So we need to lean into these things, support the entrepreneurs that are in those spaces to embed their solutions into districts and cities, and then support them in making these things accessible to the population. And I think from power to AI to how you pay for your, I don't know, your license plate or whatever the case may be, technology can help us solve and make the city much smarter.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Rotimi, for that wonderful insight. That was quite insightful. So, Chioma, you're welcome. But before I come back to you, I'll like to move over to David Mogaji. So, David, how do you see technologies like AI and blockchain directly contributing to sustainable urban growth in cities like Lagos, for instance? David?
Yes, sorry, I was muted and I was speaking. I forgot I was muted. Yeah, I think it's still part of what I addressed earlier, right? The handful of problems in Lagos. You have things like the infrastructure strain, which is as a result of the growing population in Lagos, right? We can use a technology like AI, for example, to be able to monitor infrastructures and even also offer predictive maintenance. Because if you ask a lot of people who are in Nigeria why some of the things we have in the country are not really working, they will tell you it's because of the lack of maintenance culture. So imagine having to, instead of waiting for something to get spoiled, right, we can have AI systems that are constantly monitoring these things and can also offer like scheduled maintenance even before these things are ruined in a way that they can actually help, that they can last longer and then serve the people. And then also, just as Rotimi said, when it comes to things like power, right, to be honest, due to the growing population of Lagos, I don't see the national grid really serving the people, right? We need more decentralized solutions whereby people can be able to have their own power sources that they could share with their neighbors and then maybe even generate revenue from that, right? Because, I mean, Lagos is a mega city already. A lot of people are predicting by the year 2035, Lagos is going to have about 40 million people there. That's a lot of numbers. So without proper planning, like everything could just be chaotic, right? So we can use AI, we can use IoT to solve some of these problems and make sure that the people are served and they're able to live well enough. Because the truth is that if we can solve the problems that Lagos or challenges that Lagos is currently facing, I believe that we can replicate this solution across states. I'm talking about Abuja, Port Harcourt, because eventually these states are also going to get almost as populous as Lagos. So it is very, very critical that we pay serious attention to Lagos and look at how we can not just provide the technologies, but also provide the infrastructure that supports these technologies as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, David. Chioma, are you there with me? Are you here with us? Okay,
Yes, I
Chioma. Okay, thank you. Welcome. So, as a tech expert, someone very good in tech, now, can you share your perspective on how future technologies can serve as a catalyst for sustainable urban growth?
All right, so I want to say thank you. Initially, I was on. I heard when Rotimi and David spoke first about the same question, but I don't know what happened. My question time and the network came in. I think whenever anyone thinks of Lagos, I think because of the kind of sector I play in, which is the vocational education sector, utilizing technology, I think I've started seeing Lagos beyond the whole Silicon Valley of Africa, right? I see Lagos as a brilliant place that has a lot of innovative ideas both in the streets, markets, and every other place. And at the end of the day, we have limited tools. I think one of the things that future technologies can start helping us do is to find a way to actually go grassroots, right? Because most of the brilliant ideas in Lagos that I have seen are actually people that are actually grassroots. And most of the time, they're not really as equipped as they are or as they want to be able to explore most of the ideas. So with future technologies around AI, how can AI play the role? Looking at what we do at SU, we've created an AI that helps people to really pick the right courses that they want based on their personality, their location, their abilities, and even their literacy level as well. So, for example, people can be able to, say, okay, while growing up, I was around mostly fashion designers. I love tearing my clothes apart and changing the outfit, speaking to this. And at the end of the day, the AI tells you, see, don't go too far learning makeup artistry or baking and pastry or solar installation. Just go straight into finding a way to, do fashion. And then while at it, it's now telling you the kind of fashion you should go for. It's either you're going for eco-friendly fashion because you tell them that you always like revamping. And these are things where your creativity can be seen. Future technologies should actually help people to become beyond what they see themselves as. And I think Lagos is really doing its fantastic best to make people see that, because sometimes whenever I even go for, summits, conferences like this, I see where people that I'm like, wow, so you're from AJ and then you have this really fantastic tech startup that you're doing and no one knows you. And then everyone's like, the person is like, yes. So future technologies can actually help us to see way beyond what we are and help us to guide us through so that we don't waste time and resources around things that are not what our while at that moment. So I think that's my thought on that particular question.
Okay, thank you very much, Jomas. Still, I will ask you, so SAP Technologies is helping young Africans gain the skills needed for tomorrow's job. How can vocational edtech platforms like yours contribute to a more sustainable and innovative Lagos?
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, yes, I'm not muted. You see, when people talk about smart cities, most of the time, what we're seeing is sensor, IoT, data automation. But that's it, that's very beautiful. But I would always say we can't build smart cities without smart people, right? And through vocational education platforms like SUK, we are preparing Lagos youths or Nigerian youths in general with practical, future focused skills. I remember when Rotimi was speaking, he was talking about power, and all that. And I was like, yeah, it's a fantastic thing that we're thinking in that light. But at the end of the day, we need to start training the solar power technicians that can actually make this possible. We need to also start training the fashion designers that can utilize, because right now Lagos has a lot of rules around sustainability, recycling. We need to start training fashion designers that are thinking towards that light. And we also need to, when David was talking about the traffic lights, we also need to start looking at how we're training the electrical technicians that can start making that possible. Because I was saying something yesterday, I was talking to someone and I was telling the person that 15 years ago, at least, I know I was young then, but 15 years ago, if people were looking for a technician, the person you're looking for is not always far off. It's always your neighbor. But right now, I'm telling you, if you're thinking of a plumber, we call, in fact, you might be in Abuja and you're calling your friend in Lagos to see if you can try your luck, you understand, to find a technician in Abuja. How? This is because no one is really equipping people for that. And the funny thing is that these are the skills that are keeping our cities to run efficiently and sustainably. And I would say this one for free. A city like Lagos is as smart as its citizens. Trust me, I'll repeat it again. A city like Lagos is as smart as its citizens. So our role is very simple with our vocational platform. It's very simple. Make Lagos to have the right people with the right skills for the right future. And this is by developing a workforce that understands how technology can connect to real life. So you can learn the platform online, track your skills, get your certification, get an apprenticeship, log your progress, and at the end of the day, you can become the best artisan in any skill at all that you want. And this is how vocational edtech platforms or vocational education itself becomes the engine for the innovative Lagos that we're all dreaming of. So that's how we're working to make that possible. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll come over to you now, Duke. How can Lagos leverage frontiers technologies like AI and IoT to address its pressing urban infrastructure challenges? Duke? Duke, are you there?
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot my mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I said, how can Lagos leverage frontier technologies like AI and IoT to address its pressing urban infrastructure challenges?
Okay, let's look at this in this aspect. Let's look at the triangle that have a side. We know that triangle sides are very, very important. Now I'm speaking about collaboration. So let's see the first triangle side as government playing the role of policy, and let's see the other part as academians when you of them, and that's the angle of a drama. So, and let's see the last part, which is the total, or let me go on, the local market. So, I've noticed that most of these high technology, IoT, blockchain, AI, and the rest of the solutions are the same, because I'm noticing that the problem not really comes from government. But the key thing is we need to collaborate. Most of these solutions are built for high profile people. Now, this is where override actually comes from. We have actually put the product which we are having plans to launch on live event, AOT live event. So we have built an AI solution for SME, which means if you are a business person, a local woman that cannot afford the salary of the person, you can actually spend as low as 7,500 and get your business globally. I'm not just global, the AI expert the customer, understand them personally and close your business. And it doesn't end there. The AI can now actually answer calls on behalf of the business and close people. Why small business market focus on availability of products? So, in conclusion, is collaboration. Government needs to collaborate, or we all need to collaborate. The academian, Madam Sima, the academian, the startup like us, the government like NISA, we just need to collaborate.
Okay, thank you, Gift. I'll come over to you, Rotimi. Sunfire, your company, has pioneered technology-driven financing for solar adoption. Yeah, if I might put it right that way. So what lessons can Lagos draw from your model to power inclusive and resilient energy access at scale?
Yeah, what we see with this decentralized energy systems that basically are powering Nigeria, they say today Nigeria has about 4 gigawatts of operational capacity. That's like 4 million small generators. Those are better past my neighborhood generators. In case anyone's trying to figure out what's 4 gigawatts. So imagine like millions of those things. You can't fit it in somewhere. And that's what's powering Nigeria today. But the truth is, that's not all that's powering Nigeria, right? Behind that 4 gigawatts, there's tens of millions of generators that are actually powering Nigeria. I think we have the largest installed generator base in the world. It's just unheard of in such a country as ours. Fourth largest population in the world, highest number of generators per capita in the world. So we are breaking some records. However, those generators that were distributed to people over the last 30, 40 years, right? And they, every 5 years or so, the thing breaks, customer buys again. Just think about that. Like every 2 or 5 years, customer has to go and buy again. Some people, they get fed up and they're like, you know what, let me just hold myself and do nothing, right? Because that's also, by the way, an option. Under productivity is a perfect option for Nigerians that figure out ways to be creative and still do the thing they want to do without having to go and spend money that they don't have access to in adjusting to the economy. So we keep all of that in mind. Inflation has gone crazy, although the government has done a great job this year of trying to fight back against that. But if you compare today to 3, 4, 5 years ago when the currency was at, 300 and something naira, Nigerians are a lot poorer and Lagosians are a lot poorer today. And so in such an economy, when you're now saying, hey, but you can get a solar system, get off your generator, save money, within 1 year, the thing pays itself off. The person is saying to you, yeah, that sounds nice, but where will I find the money to give you your deposits? I'll be to buy the solution. You want me to buy 500K solution, 300K solution, 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, 100 million if you're a big commercial, right? So people are thinking about that. Maybe the big commercial can bring the money out and say, here, because I really want to manage my cash flow. They get that, and they're willing to make that investment. But for someone that owns a small shop, that 500,000 naira means a lot to them. And if they get that decision wrong, that 5 million naira, maybe to a small business or to a home that wants to power 1 or 2 ACs, it means a lot. So the way they're looking at you, if I give you this money, I'll hold your neck if something goes wrong. You understand? So number one is we need to create a market in which there's trust. There's a lot of equipment in the market that's a bit funny. The Nigerian Energy Forum happened right now. I was really happy to see so many great OEMs in the market. But what Sunfi does is we help to create a one-stop shop place where a customer can come to, get the right solution, get it installed, get it financed, or turn into a payment plan. And then also the life cycle support. They can get everything from us and through a trusted platform. We hope to see more of that stuff going on in the city. But that CapEx is too high a lot of times for customers. So what we help to do is to plug in financial institutions and figure out different financing sources that can help you take that 500K or 1 million or 5 million or 10 million and turn it into like a 30% deposit. You can pay the balance over 12 months. Of course, you have to pay a fee for doing so. So if you want to pay 0 additional fees, you pay it now. If you want to pay over time, which gives you convenience. But guess what? The payback period is in under 2 years. We're talking about 1 year for many people. There are not many investments you can make in the world where you get a payback that short. So I think if the Lagos state government keys into that and helps us reduce interest rates, then within a matter of a few years, like almost every shop owner, residential customer, ATC in Lagos, generators at that level will be a thing of the past. Then we can focus on industries and how they get powered and so on and so forth. So that's one of the things that I think they can help do. Really low cost interest rates, helping us to secure trust, and then everything will take off.
All right, thank you very much. That was a wonderful insight. I hope our audience can learn a lot from that. So I come over to you, David. What are the most practical ways financial technologies can support inclusive development and bridge access gaps in undeserved communities? So I don't know if you can hear me well.
Yeah, I can hear you. That's a wonderful question. And I think it's one that lies at the very heart of financial technology, right? Because I mean, that's why fintech exists in the first place. So fintech as its core is all about access, right? Ensuring that everyone, regardless of their location, income, level, or background, can actually have access to financial services, right? That can aid them in participating in the modern economy. Now, in underserved communities where traditional banking systems, right, don't have infrastructures, because I mean, most conventional banks, you need to have a building that someone will have to walk into to carry out transactions, right? And I don't see banks having a lot of physical locations in villages, right? So this is a place, this is an area whereby financial technology can actually assist, right? So we have platforms like, let's say, Camp Web, for example. Shelma had earlier complained about when you were trying to ask her first question, she had network problem. So imagine someone who stays in Lagos or any part of Nigeria who is, let's say, trading cryptocurrency or any other financial instruments, right? And then they have a bad network, right? And let's say they're trying to close a trade. Automatically, that could play out one of two ways. It's either maybe the market goes up and they make more profit than they anticipated, or it goes against them and they lose their entire money. And this is something that is very, very common. You should ask a lot of people that are traders in Nigeria. So what we are doing at Web to be able to bridge this gap is, first, we've been able to create a mobile-first approach system whereby our users are able to participate in global markets using our automated system. But we didn't just stop there, because as I had said earlier, most of these technologies are literally useless without the people, right? So you have to be able to educate the people for them to know that, okay, this is what's possible, this is what's applicable, this is what's coming and all of that, because without the knowledge, the required knowledge, they wouldn't be able to use most of these things efficiently. And that's why at Scandweb, for example, we invest a lot in educating our users, but not just our users, but the general public. We educate them about blockchain, AI, and then even basics of personal finance, right? Because to be very honest, if a lot of people in Nigeria had a good income, they would be able to afford a lot of good things. Nigerians are people that love good things. That's why you would see everybody say, Nigeria bad, but Fridays, Saturdays, people did their parlor, they drink. People are chilling because we're just like that, right? So we've been able to provide a system that is more inclusive, right? So even if you're in a remote location whereby you have poor internet coverage or maybe unreliable power supply, you can literally participate in the global market through our platform. And as I said about the part of education, the reason why we're actually trying to educate people is because if you look at most advanced countries, I like to call them technologically advanced countries, you would see that a lot of them have knowledge about most of these technologies, how they can use it in an applicable way that can make a meaningful impact in their lives. And that's why I believe that not just financial technology companies, but even other companies need to spend a good amount of time educating people why they need to be able to have knowledge about these different technologies and how they can help them. I remember some time ago, when I went to see a friend, I was staying at his place, and the power supply in that area was quite bad, and he was talking about buying a generating set. And when he said it, I was like, okay, why don't you buy a solar system? He was like, oh no, it's very expensive. And I was like, okay, let's sit down and do the maths, right? So you're a software engineer, you need constant power supply because you need to be on your PC 24/7, writing code, debugging code, and all of that stuff. Now imagine how much you'll be spending on fuel on a daily basis. Now sum that by a month, sum it by a year, right? And you would see that you're spending way more buying fuel than you would actually spend buying a solar system, right? So different startups and institutions that are looking at solving these problems also need to spend a good amount of time educating people about these things, because without the education, trust me, the technology is useless.
Okay, thank you very much, David. And for those that are just joining us, thank you, David. And for those that are just joining us, our focus for today's pre-conversation session is on how future technologies can accelerate sustainable urban growth. So it's an opportunity to explore what the future of urban growth should look like. One, powered by innovation, driven by collaboration, and designed for the people. So I'll come over to you, Chioma. Now, what role does skill development play in ensuring Lagos workforce is ready for the emerging digital economy?
Okay, the first thing I'm going to say is everything. Skills development plays every single role that it can play to make it possible for the Lagos workforce to be ready for emerging digital technologies. And what do I mean by that? Skills development is now, it's more like the bridge between innovation itself and inclusion, right? I would say it's Lagos can adopt IOT, can adopt AI, and every single smart things that we can adopt. But without skilled workforce, I'll keep saying it, these systems will depend on imported expertise, right? You see, just imagine when Lagos invests billions of naira or millions of USDs and to get the best infrastructure, and it doesn't have the people to run it. Trust me, it won't last, it will collapse. Just imagine that they bring in new innovations around, okay, they say speed limits, they put in one kind of technology, or they say smart cities, and they bring in the best smart buses to carry people from one place to another. And at the end of the day, when the smart buses are, they have issues, we don't have the best technicians to take care of it. So we need to start seeing development as a bridge that is between innovation and inclusion. So we need to really include the people that are ready to join this workforce and find a way to utilize our technologies that we're bringing in by training them. So our approach at Souk is very, very simple. We're now blending the old and the new. That's train people in the technology with an addition to digital literacy, with digital literacy or digital solutions. So we're teaching aspiring artisans, as aspiring technicians. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear
just
me?
try and round off. Just round off your point, please, because of our time.
Oh, okay, all right, no problem. All right. Okay, so just to round things off, I think we should start teaching people that somewhere else, like somewhere far away. We should teach them that it's here now. So we need to start training people with we need to start training people on how to tap into what is happening and start seeing the way that, and I would always say this thing. So in conclusion, I would say digital transformation without human transformation, just like the Gen Zs will say, is delulu, is delusion, is illusional, right? So that's how I'm going to actually end my thoughts on that.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll come over to you, Gift Duke. I don't know if you can work on your headset also, so people can hear you very well. Hello, Gift. So the question here is, from your experience at Override Technologies, what steps can the tech ecosystem take to make innovation more inclusive and locally relevant?
Okay. At Override Technology, we have learned that inclusion is clarity, practice, from innovation to work together. It has not. It has to speak with the language of the people. We need to understand the people. That means designing for real problems. As I said earlier, that a lot of technology has been, but it has if the major users are uh, people outside Nigeria. We have not thought about how can we use technology that solve these problems. These problems, I mean, more businesses can leverage on this technology. So, if we can bridge that gap between innovation and reality, Lagos will not just adapt technology. We own. So, no single player can do, but yeah, no single player can. But that's what I was talking about collaboration. The government is the academia, like Madam Trevor and startups like us. That's what do. Government brings policy and infrastructure, academia brings and this understanding. Because I've seen a lot of wonderful which including the one I've talked, like crude oil and money in that computer. People system, I mean, it is a giver that that works with AI. But the question is, what happens to that technology now? So that's where it comes about. A lot of innovation has been going on. But yes, that's and to check most of these reviews of outside Nigeria, you will find a list player in Nigerian or anybody in Africa, a list player managing teams of developers or managing teams of filmmaker in that same office. You can find these process, like you can find them you can find them in Facebook. So we build a lot of things here. But the question is, what really happens after that? That's where I very, very excited point what Thomas said. It's not about people. We have a lot of like even in Lagos, there's a lot of like, but what happens that like after 1 month or after 1 year? That's where it's not about sustainability. We need to educate people, and not just educate people. We need to train hands. If anything happens to any AI system,
Hello, Gift. I'm sorry, maybe we've lost him. So trying to run this off, I'll have to come over again to you, Rotimi. So I don't know if you can hear me, Rotimi. Rotimi, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to be sure. All right. So, in driving sustainable city agenda, what key collaborations between startups, governments, and investors are most critical for Lagos to achieve its clean energy goals?
Just looking at the time, I'll just say it's just constant communication. So more roundtables. I think Lagos State is already doing a lot in that regard, but if we can just be asked and be given the forum to both be asked, what do you need for you to help drive innovation and sustainability of these cities? And then us also having that two-way channel to be able to go to them and also make petitions for what we need in a more fluid manner. Just think of it kind of like a box in which ideas can be put in and taken out, and ideas can be put on by both sides. And then there's a transparent execution process of, you guys brought this, we analyze it, we think it makes sense for the city, this is what we've done about it. So you can now put your bikes here, you can now follow this process to set up a data center, so on and so forth. So I think just removing those barriers through fluid communication. I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you. That was quite rich. Thank you very much. Over to you, David. From your experience at Candle Web AI, what policy or infrastructure changes are most critical for enabling sustainable tech solutions in Nigeria's urban economy? So
thank you for that wonderful.
Round this up.
Pardon, what did you say? What was the last thing you said?
I said you just have 2 minutes, ultimately 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So I think I'm just going to put out key points without having to like fully explain them. I think the first one is digital infrastructure, right? Because things like internet and power, right, are things that are really needed by any kind of technology company for them to scale, right? Without good or reliable internet connectivity or power supply, most startups can do very, very little, to be honest. And then the other thing I would like to talk about is policy consistency and then regulatory clarity, right? An example would be the regulation that SEC recently released to the public on cryptocurrencies, right? As much as those regulations are there to guide the public or protect the public, right? It still provides some hurdles that startups would have to navigate, because imagine someone who's just fresh out of school or just a random software engineer, you know, who has an idea about a startup that can really solve problems being faced by Nigerians. Imagine that kind of person, right, having to seek for 500 million naira for them to get a license, right? I mean, the person is literally going to abandon that particular idea, regardless of how rich and how helpful it's going to be to the community. Then the third one I'd like to talk about is collaborative policy framework, right? I think Rotimi touched on this a little bit, right? So we need to have government having conversations with, you know, founders, innovators, you know, institutions, academic institutions, on how they can come up with the best policies and framework that can actually encourage innovative solutions that can solve problems. Because as they would always say in Nigeria, who no come, no go no, right? If you don't come around, you wouldn't really know the real problems that startups are really facing. So I think I'm just going to stop here. And yeah, I think this points out and addresses your question.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, David. So over to you, Chioma. Briefly, how can partnerships between the government, private sector, and startups accelerate the digital upskilling of Lagos youths?
Okay, this is a very important question, because partnership, especially with the government, is very, very important. It's seen as more like the new power grid or the new, boss. The government has the reach and some of the resources, or most of the resources, not some. Startups like us, we have the innovation, and then private sectors now bring sustainability. And just these three areas I've mentioned aligned together, things will move very fast. We've seen how collaboration within the three can help. So, for example, working with edtechs like using Sook's platform to train people, the government can reach more people at scale and not require a lot of infrastructure building that can limit a lot of things or limit the number of people that can be trained. But with SUP, thousands can be trained. So it's very important for the government to always make it easy for startups and private sectors to be able to partner with them, because trust me, that is the only way. Right now, we don't need separate initiatives. We need the government to have connected initiatives that can help them reach the number of people they can to impact a better Lagos and, digitally upskill more youths, especially in Lagos and Nigeria at scale.
Okay, thank you. Because of our time, we cannot entertain much questions again, but I would like to still do this. Rotimi, sorry, please. I would like to ask you this. As cities adopt smarter technologies, that is based on what you said earlier, I would like to throw this question to you now. As cities adopt smarter technologies, how can we ensure that innovation in a clean energy remains inclusive, affordable, and aligned with the Lagos's long-term sustainability objectives?
Yeah,
Okay.
low interest rates.
Do I repeat that?
No, I heard
you
you. We need low cost
Okay.
interest rates. If we want to convert almost every square meter of roof space and surpass Pakistan as the highest per capita country in the world of solar production on top of roof space, if we want to get rid of the tens of millions of generators that we have in the country that are polluting our environment, killing our people, and just killing our companies because it's so expensive, we need to create an enabling interest rate environment that understands that this decentralized power infrastructure is a critical platform for economic development. If you have low cost interest rates, our country will take off. The US government uses that to develop its country. We need to figure out, at the same time we're asking money for loans from these international bodies, how can we get concessions, not just for rural electrification, but for urbanization as well, for these types of decentralized power assets, from homes to businesses to industrial parks, free trade zones, and more. And then I think the country and the economy will do the rest of the work.
All right, thank you, and thank you, everyone. So thank you very much to our distinguished speakers for such a rich and thoughtful or thought-provoking conversation. Yeah, you've helped us to see how future technologies from AI and clean energy to digital infrastructure and smart mobility can truly redefine how cities like Lagos grow sustainably and inclusively. And also to our audience, thank you for joining and engaging with us in this important discussion ahead of the AOT 7.0. Your participation continues to drive the conversation in innovation, sustainability, and the future of our urban spaces. So we would like to invite you all on the 4th of December to our 7th edition of Art of Technology Lagos AOT 7.0. So you should prepare a full day of big ideas, bold innovation, and real solutions. So this year's edition brings together policymakers, investors, startups, and tech talents to design a smarter and more sustainable Lagos. So what to expect that day? You see inspiring keynotes and thoughtful leadership panels, hands-on workshops and breakout sessions. AOT Ecosystem Awards, that is our 4th edition. We have the Career Pavilion, talent meetups and job opportunities, startup exhibition and live products. Collaborate Lagos, pitch where innovation meets investment. So if you're here to register on that, today is the final date. So try and do that. So AOT Lagos 7.0 isn't just another tech event. It's a movement driving a smarter, greener, and tech-empowered Lagos. So once again, as we look forward to the main event, let's continue to reflect on today's insights and think about how collaboration, innovation, and policy can come together to build Lagos we all envision, a city that's smart, green, and inclusive. Once again, our sincere appreciation to all our speakers and participants for making this pre-conversation a success. Thank you once again. My name is Prince Will Onyekachi. See you same time here next week. Thank you.